everyone, Artie Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Porter. Thanks so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. And today I'm creating this colourful, vibrant piece for art by Marlene. So I don't know if you can see that little giraffe poking his head out in there. So I'll go through what I've used. I've used a couple of her latest stencils. So one's called Window and one is called Deco Screen. I used some of the paper elements from the series 2. And I do also link all these products in the description. And I've used a piece of paper, that one there, from the scrap paper pack. Plus I used one of her artist sponges, a stack of her brushes, and of course the sticky glue. And I've also used a couple of the markers from the new markers. And of course it wouldn't be an art journal page without a heap of paint. So I used a few of the neons. So I used Funky, Hot Pink and Punk. And I've also used Happy and Kissy and Black and White. And I think there's one more in there that I've missed. Anyway, as we go through the video, I'm sure it will come up and I will leave it in the comments. Okay, so just started, I'm sorry there's a bit of shadow over the start of this video. It's quite overcast here today, so I tried filming with the light on, but I didn't like the shadow, so fairly soon I turned that off. Yeah, I think I've just turned it off now, so yeah, that's much better. So I've come in with the Happy, which is some yellow, and this is the white creative journal, the larger size one. This is her latest journal, and it's the pages are they're very smooth and they're a little bit glossy, and people that keep asking me about putting it down gesso first. So I haven't. Again, on this page, the last page I didn't either, but I didn't on either page. So yeah, you can just go straight in with your acrylic paints. So what I did is I came in with the Happy in 3 places, and then I came in with some of the Hot Pink and also some of, I think it's called Boom, or it might be Funky. Sorry, it's Funky and Hot Pink. So, and came through and just added little sections. I knew I wanted to create some movement across the page. I didn't have a lot of idea of what I was doing, so I'm just sort of working in that rule of 3 places across the page and sort of movement through the page and leaving some white space. Okay, and then I came in once those colours were dry, which these paints are really dry really quickly. I came in with some Kissy, which is that bright pink that I've put over the top. So I made sure, because I wanted to rub it off using a wipe, I made sure I added it on top of paint that I'd already put down, so it had something to sit upon. And then so I've put that in 3 places as well. And then I also decided, particularly the Hot Pink was standing out, like the brush marks were standing out way too much. So to counteract that, where they sort of meet the white page, I came in with the artist sponge and did some sponging through the same Deco Screen stencil. And that just breaks up that really obvious brush marks. And then I've also come in and covered up those lines again, the brush marking lines, by adding in some little mark making with some flat brushes. So I use a small one and then a Marlene's one as well, and it just adds in a little bit of interest and layer. And I did actually, this is where I first started using the punk in that section. So on top of the pink, the punk really pops. So then I grabbed the window stencil, and I knew I wanted to do a window for that giraffe to be coming out of, because the paper element of him is just his neck and his head. So I thought, well, he'd look, you know, just to ground him, he looks like his head's coming through the window of a building. So I started by adding white through the stencil with a sponge, but you couldn't see it at all. So I came in with black instead. And then with that same stencil, there is another window that's larger, and it's sort of got, to me, it looks like bricks underneath. It's probably like paneling for a window, but I saw bricks, so I decided to kind of make it look like there's a bit of a wall happening. I didn't want to put the bricks all over because it would overpower the page, but I just liked that because I've used black in the window, that I'm bringing in some black throughout the page as well. So I basically just used an artist sponge and sponged through and just did it a bit randomly and tried to make it look a little bit bricky by not having perfect lines and sort of staggering them in different places. Then I went through the paper elements and pulled out some of the yellows and pinks in some of the flowers that are in there. And then I felt like I needed some more, and I needed a little bit more orangey colours because I'd kind of got rid of most of the orange. For those who came on retreat with me recently, you know that I'm trying to have a relationship with orange. It's not a colour that I use, and this happened to me with purple, and I've completely gotten over it by using lots and lots and lots of purple, and now it's a natural colour I reach for. So the orange is my battle at the moment, my nemesis. So I'm just trying to use it in every page, and it's funny because obviously I haven't quite got there yet because I usually end up covering it all up without realising what I'm doing. I just look back and go, oh, all the orange is gone. So that kind of happened a little bit with the paint. I put a bit of orange down and then I ended up covering most of it up. So I tried to bring a little back in with those flowers that just have a bit of an orange tone to them. So I cut a few out and I've just staggered them throughout the page so that I've got that movement again. So I've got some going from the top right hand side down past the window. Then I've got a little bit of a left of blank bit where I had plenty of busyness happening in the background, and then they move up towards the left as well. So now that I sort of laid the flowers down, made me realise I'd covered up a lot of the bricks that I'd made for the wall. So I came back in and just added a few more, and then I decided I'd covered up a lot of the paint as well. So I came in with extra bits of punk, and I'm just using that as, you know, through the actual stencil with an artist sponge, just to sponge some of that lovely geometric pattern that is in that stencil. And then I come in with more yellow as well. Yellow is a nice transparent colour, so it's like the neons. It will sit above, it won't, it's not opaque, so it won't cover up what you've done. So it won't cover up the black bricks. It will sort of sit in between them. So it's a good colour, that and the neons, to come in and, you know, just add touches of colour if you've ended up removing some of it. So now I decide to continue to add some of those bricks, but just with a pen, and I'm just tracing through the stencil here and there, as you can see. Some I'm making sure are coming off of the page, so I've got some half bricks so that again creates that movement through. So yeah, now I'm just kind of working out whereabouts I want all my flowers. I kind of had an idea, and it never ends up the same when I come and stick them all back on. But I just kind of, you know, and concentrating them, the majority of them on the right hand side, so around the giraffe. So I want that area to be, I guess, the focal point. So I'm putting more flowers on that side and a few less on the left hand side. And now I'm just using the sticky glue to stick them all straight down and sticking down that little giraffe. And I'm just making sure, I like how the glue doesn't, you know, you sort of got 20 seconds, I guess, before it dries. So, you know, it gives you that chance to move things around and tuck things under if you need to. And then I've just come back in and grabbed a couple of extra. I've ended up being left with a couple of little holes that I just want to fill. So I just find a few more little flowers and poke them in here and there. So now I've come in with the markers. So this is the black and the white one. So there's black on one end and white on the other. And I just noticed that one of the little flowers, it's actually the one that's right in the centre where the fold of the page is. It's got the black centre with the white dots, and I really like that look. Marlene's got it in a few of her flowers. So I just decided to give the page a bit of cohesion and to continue that. So I've put black in the center of all the flowers, and I'm just letting that dry, and I end up drying it off a bit. And I start to come on with the white marker, but they just didn't pop enough. So I'm using the white lace paint just to add a few little dots into the centers of the flowers. And the bit that I missed while I was talking is just the window, because I want the light is obviously coming onto the left hand side of the window, because I've got that white space. So that's kind of where the light source is. So I wanted to shine a bit of light on the windows, so I just used the white markers to draw some white lines on the left hand side of those of the window patterns, and then I just smudged it with a brush, and yeah, I think that gives a nice illusion of light coming in from the left hand side. And now I'm just popping those flowers. I always add to Marlene's die cuts and paper elements, I always add a little bit of neon to the top of them. It just sort of pops them up and adds that, because it's translucent, the neons, it sits on top, and it gives you that real vividness, bright colours that I love. So that's pretty much it. I am coming in here and there. I'm using purple marker here, and I'm just adding a bit of shadowing. I did a little bit on the right hand side of the window, and I'm just adding a little bit underneath some of the flowers just to create a tiny bit of shadow. I don't do it to all of them, but I just felt there were a few areas that needed a little bit more of something something. Okay, now I'm just filling in the gaps with a few more of those bricks. Try not to go too crazy. We do want to leave some white space. I know I'm going to put a quote in the center, so don't, try not to go too crazy. But with my leftover black paint, I have just added some splatters, and I mainly did this because I actually had a few marks that had got in the wrong spot from when I was doing my stenciling. So just to make it look like it's meant to be there, I'm simply coming with some black paint and added some splatters, and then I try to be patient and let that dry, and I add in a quote, and I've written, an optimist is someone who figures that taking a step backward after taking a step forward is not a disaster, it's a cha-cha. And I just love that really is optimism, and we all do that, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and just to remember not to give up, that you're just doing the cha-cha. So I thought that was really cute for the giraffe, because he's got a flower in his mouth. Yeah, and I also did add a little bit of black marker to the right hand side of the window panes just to give that illusion a bit more oomph. So that's about it from me. So I've left you with lots and lots of close-ups so you can see more of the stenciling and more of the layering in the work. But yeah, that's it from me. So as always, I'd love to hear from you, love to know that you are here. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I will see you all again soon.